of going deeper into what it means to get the state. And it was about balancing your four intelligences: your spiritual, your intellectual, your emotional, and your physical. And so yesterday we covered the emotional way to approach the state, and it was through devotion. And it came through letting your heart extend out and bringing grace into the picture. And before, for the longest time, we've been using the focusing methods to your physical experiences, such as undivided attention, and then letting yourself rest in it. And before that, we showed you different ways to keeping your energy channels open. And then when your energy channels are open enough, of course, you naturally are in that state as well. And we also used focusing methods to clear your thoughts, such as chanting, such as actually bringing your eyes to focus, and different modalities like that. And so we have been covering all these different modalities. So today, I'm going to show you how they can come together. I'm going to show you how they can come together. So before anything starts, I'm going to say that you will never be in the state as long as your mind is busy. You will never be in the state as long as your mind is busy. That was a beautiful smile. And so half the battle is, how do you not get caught up in your mind? That's half the battle. How do you not get caught up in your mind? Because it is your mind that resists. There's nothing else that resists. The rest of it, it's there. It's at your disposal. So when we actually really talk about the ego, we're really only talking about one of the four intelligences. We're not really talking about a physical intelligence, even our emotional intelligence, or our spiritual intelligence. We're really talking about our mental intelligence as to how it defines yourself and how it defines your own identity and how it sees yourself in the moment to be true. And therein lies the rub and also your salvation. So if you find yourself in the moment resisting, then the other three will follow, because the other three will only do what it's shown. So if your mind feels threatened, then your body will have threatened responses. When your mind sees something where you feel your mind is scarce, like, oh, there's not enough of that, your heart will feel greed, and so on and so forth. Your spirit or your energy will follow your thought and attract it. Your energy or your spirit is the one that is furthest along. So you will notice this. When you are actually having a great day, you attract great things. You attract great things. When you're not having a great day, I'm going to say you don't attract such great things, as a lot of you are already aware. So I'm going to say how you conduct your mind is the most important thing. So everything I'm about to tell you is premised upon, can you get yourself to not be caught up in your thoughts? Everything I'm about to tell you is premised upon that. So in the last year, almost predominantly, especially the last 6 months, when I've been talking to you about resting in loving emptiness, and talking to you about resting in undivided attention, the entire focus has been on allowing your mind to what?
Be quiet.
Yes, be quiet. To experience, to rest. Do you see these words? So that you can be. So I hope these definitions are coming together and becoming clear. So now, let me actually start bringing this together. Whether you can get this or not, let me say what it means to be a free human being. See, sometimes I push you guys to be uncomfortable. Like this morning when I see you guys not wanting to smile, I know that a lot of you are not feeling comfortable smiling. Why do I do this? So that you can feel it. You can feel it. Can you adjust yourself in the moment? I'm giving yourselves opportunities to see whether you can change your mind to adjust yourself in the moment. This is really a teacher's job. A teacher's job is not to make you feel comfortable. A teacher's job is to give you opportunities. And you may have all the reasons in the world as to why not to adjust to what your teacher is telling you. And I'm going to say to you that the only person who loses out on it, you know is who. So keep this in your mind. Keep this in your mind. And then having said that, this is the time also when you get to test. When I do something like that, this is the time when you get to test whether you have been training well or not, to be able to adjust your thoughts readily. Or whether you come up with some different reason as to why not to follow. Because that's all we have. That's the rest of our lives. So how can we experience life when all we do is basically justify ourselves in our current positions? So having said that, yeah, this goes deep. This goes very deep. But having said this, now here's as simple as it gets. On the premise that you can clear your mind, on that simple premise, when your heart is left alone, and I've posted this question, I haven't posted this question in some time, but let me post it today. If you had no negative thoughts, is it possible for your heart to have negative emotions? If you had absolutely no negative thoughts, no negative beliefs, is it possible for your heart to have negative emotions?
Well, what's the definition of a negative emotion? Because you can feel sorrow and pain.
Mm-hmm.
So you could call that negative,
Mm-hmm.
and you could feel that
Mm-hmm.
and have positive thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I would actually suggest if you cleared your mind and you completely cleared your mind of any of your thoughts, I would ask, how does your heart feel?
I don't know if I've gotten there.
Yeah. That's a question. You're getting into definitions versus experience. So
So I don't have the answer to that question.
yes. But you can actually, when you ask yourself this question, you can actually feel in your body what is true. You can feel in your body. You do have the answer to that question because you've experienced it. But what I'm actually really saying is that when you were asking that question, you weren't going to your experience, which is true, but you're going into a definition. See, now you're wanting to, if you will, make it logically sense. But if you did not have any negative thoughts, what happens to your heart? It's just open. And what do you experience? What do you experience? When your mind is clear, you walk into this class, and let's say, for instance, you are full of thought, and then we did some of the exercises such as undivided attention. What happens to your heart? How do you feel? That's the question. How does your experience change? Have you had an experience where you walked in with a profoundly disturbed emotion, and then you were able to clear your thoughts and your mind was empty? What happens to your heart? So there is the question. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to give you the answer, but I want you to really actually work with this answer. I'm going to say that your heart will experience joy. Your heart will experience love, and it will be in perfect condition. when your mind is free, when your mind is free and you are not thinking, your heart by itself will be gold. Your heart by itself will be experiencing absolute joy. And you can actually look at your heart right now. If you look at just and experience your heart without much thought, you will feel in a natural state. You will feel peace. You will just feel love. And you'll notice that you experience joy. That was our meditation for today. So, before I finish this up, I'd just like to quickly go around and just make sure. What did you experience, Abby?
Well, what you're describing is what I call when I'm present.
Present, yes.
Yeah. It's that open, no thought.
And then you feel it.
It is very, because it's receiving the other, then it is open and without. There's no stuff.
Yes, there's no stuff. And then there's only, you just feel.
And I hadn't put the word joy, but it fits.
Excellent. How about you, Joseph?
Yes, I definitely feel joyful, but it's openness. Just openness.
Yes, openness. Okay, how about you?
Feel space suffused by love.
Loving emptiness. Excellent. How about you, Joe?
I can feel my mind unwilling to let go of certain challenges that I have for today.
Ah, and what did that do to your heart?
Well, it couldn't open. I was faced with this almost dilemma. It's like I knew my heart couldn't open, and I realized that faced with something, the habit I have is not to let go of it. So I could just see that tug of war.
Yes,
It's
yes.
actually quite fascinating. Some of it is even, I can see a lot of this is cultural. Like the two don't have to have anything to do with each other.
No, no.
But conditioning or however it's come to be that way, it's so subtle that I saw that I just have to be willing to let it go. For us.
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? The mind feels that it can't let go. Yeah.
The mind is saying, how dare you feel this open love when you got to get this done today.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. How about you, Margaret?
Well, I have an experience of feeling like I have an open heart. So I think it's the mind that gets in the way of the open heart, where there's confusion.
Yes. This is, and so did you experience it today? When you stayed present with your heart?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And so I'm going to say, this is actually as simple as it gets. So I think what happens here, let me tell you what happens. So when I first discovered this, I can tell you that life is really good. And when I say first discovered it, let me redefine it. I realized that you can actually really stay in here whenever you want. And that was the real power of it. And I just stayed here. And you can't be touched because the heart will only feel those things if it's presented with those. And if your mind's not looking at those things, then how can the heart feel bothered? If the mind is not looking at those things, how can the heart be bothered? And oftentimes I tell people in my journey that in my journey at some point I realized that my happiness was bothering other people. And it was kind of interesting because even then you have certain thoughts that come to you, but if you just stay with your heart, they just disappear. And the thought, the passing thought that I had was, good, maybe my happiness will bother them so that they'll start being happy. And so that's to the extent you can become positive. But for some other reasons, I realized that, you know, adjusting yourself, there's wisdom in adjusting yourself. But at the same token, even if you adjust yourself, your heart does not need to be affected. This is really the key. Your heart does not need to be affected. Let me tell you the only reason, if you're experiencing sadness, the only reason you should allow yourself to experience sadness, and here's the reason why, is because you have to get to the thought that caused it. And the only reason you can get, only way you can get to the thought that caused this is to go through your emotions until you reach the trigger point. Did that make sense? Until you reach the trigger point, or until you reach the physical trigger point. Let's say, for instance, when you were younger, you were hit, and when you were hit, it caused a thought, and then the thought caused an emotion, and then it got conditioned, and then now you resist, and you have this emotion that's protecting you against it. That's what the negative emotions are. It protects you against experiencing again. Like fear. Why do you feel fear? So that you never, like here, you know, in my high school days, when, you know, I was about to ask this lady out, I had this huge, tremendous amount of fear. To do what? To protect me from losing face. So what I was really afraid of was losing face. The fear was there to protect me from the trauma of losing face. And then once I went through it, I realized that what I was really concerned was about losing face, and that's what I was afraid of. But before that, I had all kinds of other thoughts in the same manner. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So does you get to a point where, because I see now that my mind is always trying to convince my heart that it's unsustainable to have an open heart.
Yes.
It's always trying to catch the heart.
Yes.
Does that continue and you just learn to not plug into that, or does your mind actually start to quiet?
No, you just have an experience that completely disproves your thought. And when you experience it, then your mind cannot rally against it anymore. So mind is constructed upon what we call evidence. Now it's highly subjective, but nonetheless, even if you have one that's completely counter to your previous thoughts, it can no longer sustain itself. That's why there's nothing quite like the truth. So if you were to, and you can do this actually even now, but if you go back into your past and you thought it was unsustainable, you will have actually had experiences it was completely sustainable. And if you, and here, this is the power of the mind, and this is where the mind is great. If you start focusing your mind towards those incidences where it was sustainable, then it will remember that.
So your mind turns around and becomes your ally, as opposed to
no, your mind will never be an ally. This is what people try and do, and that's why they mess with it. That's another delusion. What happens is that people want to say, okay, the mind is this, and then they would say, oh, you know what, we can make it an ally. Now you're still caught up with the mind, so that's still your mind working with you, and you just got duped by it. No, you have to subjugate your mind. You have to become the master of your mind. And so it's a whole different thing. You just put your mind at an equal level as you. But at your heart, you feel what it is. So, okay.
My question is, when you're in that state all the time, is joy the only emotion you experience, or do you experience other emotions ultimately?
You experience other emotions. But the great thing is, fundamentally, it's built upon joy. Yes, yes. You can get to a point where you don't feel the other emotions. I don't recommend it. Okay, okay. So, okay. That's enough questions. We've spent enough time. Let me give you a concluding homework. And this is something that will take you through the day. Always keep your mind on your heart.
Keep your mind under.
On your heart, yes. But it's the same as under. Your mind's job is to understand your heart and to take direction from the heart.
I've heard the expression to drop your mind into your heart.
That's very good.
Follow it back to remembrance.
Yes. The mind should bow down to the heart. The mind should bow down to the heart. That's why. Have you ever wondered, watch this. When you greet today, do the same thing, but you go to the heart and then you bow your mind down to the heart. And you will feel the difference. You will feel your heart, and then as you bow your head down to your heart, you will feel very different. You will feel very different. So, if you will, the heart is never wrong. The heart is never wrong. The mind is there, and this is what's called wisdom. And if you reach that, and if your mind learns to listen to your heart, that's called wisdom. That's called wisdom. Why? Because the mind is a counselor. The mind is a counselor. It is under the master, which is your heart. Because your heart is the soul, the window to your soul. And your body, and so here's how they all come together, your body. So what happens to the body? You should feel your heart with your body. You should experience your heart with your body. So that your mind is subject to your body and your heart. So you have to experience your heart with your body. And you'll feel all the different places where it's tight and what's not. And you'll notice how they're disconnected to your heart. Mm-hmm.
You can't do the form without your body experiencing your heart.
Yes, you cannot do the form without your body experiencing the heart. Experience your heart with your body, and you will feel your whole body alive and charged. Because it is being kept alive by your heart. It is being pumped by your heart. And then when you experience your heart through your body, then understand your mind, your heart through your mind. And this is what happens. When the mind understands the heart through the experience of your body, then it can give you proper counsel. Only then can give you proper counsel. So say for instance, we'll take a simple problem. We'll take a very simple problem. So sometimes I'm at work, and sometimes I start feeling I want to go out. Weather is really nice out there, and I want to go out. And then I feel my emotion, and then I let myself fully experience it. And then through my body. And then when I experience my heart through my body, I realize my heart is agitated because really, it's not even the outside of the sunshine. My brain's overworked and it's overheated and it's feeling uncomfortable and there's too much blood in my head and my neckline is being filled with the energy because too much energy has been rising to it because I've been using too much of my head and I've been in haste. and my heart's trying to tell me something. And my mind goes, oh, I get it. So I get up, I take my mug, and I walk, and I get a cup of tea. And then I feel and experience my heart to my body, and my heart becomes happy. And when I look out into the sunshine, at this point, the sunshine aids me. Because I realize it's not that I want to be outside necessarily. It's just I wanted to find equilibrium. Very, very different. We misunderstand our heart. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. So I think this should give you an idea as to how these all come together. And then here, when the mind activates, your soul, your spirit, gets together to attract those things to you. Your mind directs the chi. So it says, spirit, now here's how the equation comes together. Listen very carefully. Your spirit leads the mind. Your mind leads the chi, and the chi leads the body, right? Your spirit is actually your mood. It is your heart. It is the basis. It's what's underneath the emotion. Emotion, if there's your heart, it's the sun, and there are flames coming off the sun. Those are your emotions. And so your basis, your mood, your spirit, you're spirited, you're feeling spirited, you're feeling charged, dictates what kind of thoughts you're going to have. It's your state. So when they talk about the spirit, it's really your state. And so your heart, your mind, and then it attracts the energy, and then your body changes. But your state is really the suffusion of all of these things. That's why I say experience your heart through your body. Because we're too much in the mind. Okay. I think that's good enough. I think that brings it all together.
What's
The homework is to actually keep experiencing your heart through the body. And when you think it's one emotion and your mind gives you answers, to subject it, to listen a little bit more until it really understands. Until it really understands. And this is how you know it really understood. When you feel your heart is gold. When you feel that all is good. When you feel, listen to this, when you feel worthiness, when you feel that the world is good, when you feel that all things are there for you, your heart's one. When you feel that, then you've reached your heart, the essence of it, and you have understood it. Until then, you cannot say you've understood your heart. So the practice, now I'm going to say, the practice of Tai Chi is to experience grace. And when you're not experiencing grace, then the practice of Tai Chi is to understand that all things come out of grace. So by practicing this and following this back, you're always on a process of grace. So that's the homework, is to experience your heart through your body, and then to listen and understand to your heart with your mind, and then feeling your spirit join the rest of the world. Okay, that's more than enough. Now we're going to practice it.